Everyone is talking about using AI to make ads right now, and while the tools for doing so have gotten extremely good, most of the ads being made aren't actually converting all that well. And a lot of the time, it's because the AI is generating creatives that might look good but weren't actually made based on what's already working for you, so they perform poorly. That's why in this video, I'm going to walk you through the complete workflow we use to make AI static ads that actually convert so you can copy it and have a repeatable process you can run every time you need fresh creatives. Let's get into it. What you're looking at here is a unified view of the creative performance data pulled across every ad network we're running on. But what Segwise does on top of unifying that data is automatically tag every element inside each of our static ad creatives using multimodal AI. That means it's analyzing the visual elements, the on-screen text, the headlines, the CTA, the color palette, the composition, the characters, and even the emotion the creative is putting out without having to manually tag anything. And then it maps each of those tags directly to performance metrics through tag to metric mapping. So instead of knowing that ad 7 had a strong ROAS, you can actually see that ads with a problem-led headline are consistently outperforming ads that don't, or that a specific CTA style is showing up in majority of our top performers across multiple networks. To see a report like that, you would basically scroll down, come here to the static AI tags, and then look at these individual static tag reports. So in this case, if I was to see what kind of headlines are contributing to my CTR or my conversions, I would come here. So currently all my statics have been grouped and tagged into 3 buckets: aspirational and evocative benefit, direct action and habit formation, and routine and lifestyle integration. You can see the performance of each of these tags. You can see the spend on them, you can see the impressions they've got, and the CTR or the click-through rate that each of these headlines contribute to. So from this data, we can see that direct action and habit formation headlines actually have the highest CTR, but they don't really have the highest impressions. The highest impressions actually belong to aspirational and evocative benefit, even though the CTR is slightly lower, but comparable to direct action and habit formation. What this would mean is that your next batch of creatives should be focused around aspirational and evocative benefits in the headlines if you want better results. Those are the kind of patterns that actually give you a clear direction going into your next round of creatives, and this is honestly probably the biggest reason why most people's AI static ads don't convert. Similarly, if I wanted to see what kind of background settings actually drive results for me, I would come to this background report or the background tag report and see the different kind of backgrounds that I'm running across my creatives and what their performance looks like over here. So again, I can see that bright and airy lifestyle interior has the highest spend share, has a pretty decent CTR, and it actually has the highest impressions amongst all the other tags over here. So my next batch of creatives would be focused around the background bright and airy lifestyle interiors. If you wanted to know what this actually looks like, you could click over here and see all the creatives that actually have this background setting. Lastly, I do want to call out that instead of going through these reports, you could just simply come to the AI chat feature over here and ask your data, basically, what are the kind of winning patterns in your static creatives? What are the top performing tags in my static ads? While we get an answer for that, let me just tell you that all this type of data right here is the foundation of everything that follows in this workflow. The inputs you build in the next section, the variations you generate after that, and all of it comes back to what you find here in your reports or through this AI chat or your creative strategy agent that has answers for every single query that you may have around your performance or creative data. So take the time to actually look at your patterns before you move on, because the quality of this data is actually what will dictate the success of your creatives in the next batch of your creative cycle. You can see what your winning patterns or what are your top performing tags in your static ads. So featured product, multi-use makeup is your highest converting image format, reaching an IPM of 10.25 versus 6.78 for skincare and 5.61 for lip products. Yet it only receives 181 of your 3,500 image spend. The algorithm isn't being given the chance to scale what's working. So insights like this around your products, your characters, your headlines, your background setting, your promotional offers will actually guide your next batch of creatives based on the winning patterns you find over here. Or you could again manually go and look at all this data in the reports. But if I were you, I would just come to this AI chat feature almost every day and ask it what are the top performing patterns and keep my creative team in sync on what's working, what's not working, and what we should be making next. So, if you want to run this same analysis on your account, I'll have a link where you can try Segwise for free in the description below. Now let's get into how you actually brief your internal creative teams, your agency, or the AI tool that you've been using to generate your creatives. So now that you have your element level data in front of you, the next step is turning those winning tags into inputs before you start playing around with your generation tool. A lot of people skip straight to the generation and just describe their product in a sentence or two, which is why the output ends up being usable but not actually connected to what converts to their audience. Your brief should be built from the winning tags across all your top performers, not just a description of what you sell. The good thing with Segwise though is that you don't actually have to write the brief from scratch because the creative strategy agent has already done the heavy lifting on identifying which tags are driving your performance. So here's what you want to have a clear picture of before you start generating. There's two ways to go about this from here on, right? One is you actually generate the briefs by yourself. So you come on this AI chat feature, you try to find what are your top performing tags, you identify what works, what doesn't work, and you start building the brief yourself. Or you can ask the creative strategy agent to build a brief for you that you can then pass along to your teams. Or you can use it in the AI tools that you're already using. With Segwise, you don't actually have to do that. We generate the briefs for you and we also generate static creatives for you. So we've got this section over here for our agents, and if you look over here, this is what our creative generation agent looks like. So you have three tabs over here. You have a review section, you have a bookmark section, and you have a needs improvement section. What's really cool over here is that also you can set up your own creative controls. You can upload a brand deck over here. The agent actually studies that and learns what your brand is all about, what is your brand design language, what is your creative ideology or creative methodology, and then builds on top of that. For the agent to run, you can select a day of the week on which you want your creatives to be generated and a day for when you want your video briefs also. So over here, you can see that I've selected every Thursday, I want 20 statics and I want 5 video briefs generated for me. I've also added a bunch of brand context over here. I have the brand name. I've given it a brief description. I've talked about the products we have and the kind of audience we target. The colors, which are very important for your creatives, have also been added over here. I can actually go over here and change these settings whenever I want. So this is a detailed breakdown of all the services, the products, the target customers, the unique selling points, and any other additional brand context that you may want to give the strategy agent or the generation agent. You could also update your product images over here so that the statics use the exact product image in the creatives that it's generating. And you can also additionally add creative constraints. So if you have a set of learnings from your previous creative iterations or from the time you've been running your ads, you can dump all of that context over here, and the generation agent factors in all that feedback in every single generation run every single week. You have your learnings from your rejections as well over here. What this actually means is that, say you particularly don't like a creative that was generated. So back in the early days, let's say this was one of the creatives that was created and it was slightly off brand. So you could actually go over here, open this creative and reject it. And when you reject it, you can give it feedback. So the agent is constantly learning based on your feedback and it never repeats that same mistake ever again. The generation agent gives you multiple static ad variations and creatives built directly from your proven hooks, CTAs and visual styles. Once the creative comes through, you can edit any of them by just prompting the agent. If I want to make a change to the headline over here, all I need to do is just tell it what I wanted to change and it will go ahead and do that for you. So let me just say I want to replace this headline with another high performing headline that has worked for me in the past. So it's as easy as that. If you want to swap a headline, change the background color, or tweak the layout, you just type what you want and the agent updates the creative for you. No manual design work needed. As you can see, another high performing headline, which is "Wake Up to Your Best Skin," has been updated over here for this specific creative. And I can just go ahead and download it in the original aspect ratio, or if I want to change this, I can also change it for the different ad networks that I may be running this creative for. So I'm going to go ahead and download this for 3:2 and 4:3 as well. It's as simple as that. The creatives have been downloaded and I can now use them in the ad network of my choice. And one more thing worth calling out, if you'd rather hand the direction off to your designer or your agency instead of generating the final asset yourself, Segwise can also produce a creative brief or a storyboard built from the same winning tags. So you've got both paths covered depending on how your team likes to work. Another very important point to cover over here is that you can go into each of these generations and actually see the reasoning behind why this was generated. So if you were to actually read this, you would see that there are specific traits within this creative that have been identified from your winning creative patterns in either one of the reports that we just saw or through AI chat. The top performing creative in this entire creative library is CR247 and with a 4.42 CTR. This is something we saw in the report earlier as well. The concept is also meaningfully different from the UGC demo brief 1. There is no character, no application gesture, no vanity bathroom. This is a pure product as atmosphere composition. So as you can see, it's actually gone ahead and picked up specific winning creative elements from across all your creative data and then combined all of it to compose this static creative for you. Once you have all these creatives in place, it's a good practice to go back to the AI chat or the creative strategy agent and start verifying a lot of these creative patterns that have been picked to create these ad creatives for you. Make sure that the ads start opening with the same hook style your data is pointing to. Make sure the CTA matches the style and tone that's historically converted, and make sure the visual treatment lines up with what your top performers look like. If all three of those check out, it's ready to test. But if something feels off, either ask the agent to fix it directly or go back to the inputs rather than trying to manually rebuild the creative. Once you're happy with the creative generation, you can export each one of these in whatever aspect ratio you need. 1:1, 4:5, 9:16, 16:9, all of them. So you've got assets that are now ready to drop straight into Meta, TikTok, Google, Snapchat, or whatever you're running without having to resize anything yourself. From here, the test structure is straightforward. Just run these new creatives against your current control ad, one variable at a time. Since these creatives were built from the performance data rather than a blank brief, your baseline should already be stronger than a fully new creative built from scratch. And as these variations and creatives run, Segwise is automatically tagging the new performance data for you. So every generation cycle you run is informed by more data than the last one, and your inputs get sharper and sharper over time. And lastly, if you still want to create something of your own, we do generate video briefs as well. So you can pick any brief from here and send it to your creative team or your agency and have them create this for you. Similar to the statics we generated, these creative briefs are also embedded in the winning patterns in your data. And that's basically the full automated workflow you get with Segwise. All you need to do is connect your ad networks and let the platform do the heavy lifting for you. It's truly agentic and you don't even have to lift a finger. The tagging agent watches all your ads, your competitors' ads as well, identifies winning patterns and turns them into hit creatives that are backed by your data. If you want to run it on your own account, you can try Segwise for free by clicking the link in the description. Connect your ad networks, let it tag your existing creatives, see which elements are actually driving your performance, and use that to generate your first batch of data-backed creatives so your AI ads actually convert. Again, you can get started for free by clicking the top link in the description. And if you want to learn how to properly analyze your Facebook ad creatives, then check out this video next.